call the October 22nd, 2023 meeting of the Henry County Board of Supervisors to order. I'd like to welcome all of our visitors. Remind you, if you want to be placed specifically on the agenda to address the board, you will need to contact the county administrator's office at least 7 days in advance of any of our regular meetings. However, the public may address the board under the agenda item matters presented by the public that we will take up later this evening as agenda item number 17. Again, welcome everyone. Our first item of business consideration today is the items of consent. What is the pleasure of the board?
Chairman, if no additions or corrections, I make a motion we accept it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0. Jennifer. Agenda item number 6. We'll have a monthly report on delinquent tax collection efforts. We have with us County Treasurer Scott Grindstaff. Scott, welcome.
Good afternoon. This is the report for the end of July 31st, 2023. Personal property collection, we had collected 90.86% of the 2022 personal property. During the month, we collected $79,574. Real estate, we had collected 95.30% of the 22 real estate taxes. During the month, we collected $83,848. Since the 1st of January, TACS has collected $662,060. So far in the month of August, we've had 17 D&B stops collected. As you recall, we had a judicial sale in July, but the confirmation hearing with the court is not until September, so hopefully we'll get a report back on that, but I assume that everything will go through with the sale.
All right. Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Grindstaff?
Yeah, Scott, do you have a policy or a procedure or something for these houses that are way behind on taxes and stuff?
A policy or procedure?
How long do you wait?
We can't do a judicial sale until they're at least 2 years delinquent.
Right.
And we have a lot on the list, probably over 1,500 in litigation right now. And with doing the sales, we're lucky to get 20, 25 per sale twice a year, 50. So it takes time to get them all sold. A lot of that is some of the ones you see that are abandoned and jumped. We have to find people and heirs and all that to do the litigation to them. I mean, we're Henry County, if you talk to John, and we're probably one of the only localities that do 2 sales a year. And we're doing them as fast and as often as we can. I would like to do more, but you know, with what TACS can do, what resources they have, that's what we're doing them as fast as we can.
I mean, I know some of them are not worth anything, basically, but it's worrying us to death because people are calling us, and it's worrying the deputies to death. They're running their legs off trying to run these people down and stuff, and you know, it's just a vicious cycle.
It's the law. I mean, if it's under, if the lot and everything's under $10,000, we don't have to go through the lengthy process. But if it has any type of structure on it, you know, it's gonna be worth more than $10,000, and we have to go through the legal process. Unfortunately, the people that do that, they have laws protecting them also.
Yeah. Well,
Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm almost echo what Mr. Slaughter said too. It is a recurring problem that we have in each one of our districts, is that we all the districts have dilapidated houses and dilapidated yards, and many of them where people has passed away and they've turned over the heirs. Heirs didn't want the property, so they just let it go, or they've died off and the heirs moved away. Nobody there to take care of it, and you know, our deputies are being called constantly to go check it, you know, either through us or through the individual calling 911 or whatever they call, non-emergency number, to get them to go check it. And, you know, then they've got to go through the procedure of trying to find who to contact and you get the information, get them contacted and so forth. And yeah, it's a recurring problem we got. It really is.
I mean, honestly, probably the majority of the delinquent stuff, like all the sales I've had over the years, I doubt very seriously we ever sold a house that somebody lived in. Most of them have been abandoned properties. Most of them are the names of people that died 25, 30 years ago, so it's us hunting down the heirs. Now, like I said, what you can do to, I don't know what you can do to speed it up. I'll ask John to come to the next meeting and see if he has any ideas on it, but I know they are litigating as fast as they can on this stuff, but, you know, if we turn something over to John today that's 2 years delinquent, it's easily 9 months before it could go to sale.
Yeah, and it's just the fact that it's just aggravating because us as supervisors think we got our hands tied because actually there's nothing we can do, you know?
My hands are tied too. I have to go by what the law says.
Yeah.
Are there any, I know you're saying laws, state, federal, are there any
State.
local, are there any local ordinances, policies, regulations that we go by that we could look at to see if we can adjust some things locally to help speed that up, or is everything governed above us? Okay. And one of the things I was going to mention during our comments, is it a time for you and Dale and the sheriff's department and everybody who's involved in this type of process to get together, sit down, have some conversations and discuss what's going on and things that we can, do together as a team to speed those things up, to make those processes, the communication smoother?
I know the calls you get on the abandoned houses that are run down and maybe turn into, drug places and stuff. That's one thing, but even like, Joe and I worked on the property in Collins a couple years ago. Even if I hold a sale, the new owner takes over, that gives him a ticking clock. He's got 2 years where he has to do anything. So as far as cleaning stuff up, that may be more county code type stuff. But if I sell a piece of property, the new owner, they don't have to do anything to it right away. You're just giving them a clean clock to start before the taxes are delinquent again. So it takes it out of my hands when we sell it. It's somebody else's property, and they're up to date at that point.
So there's not an ordinance out there that we can amend that would make the new property owner maintain the grass as he purchases a house in the agreement? That'd be part of the agreement of purchasing the house?
Keeping the grass up, we have ordinance on that, don't we?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's out of my range.
I know we do, but enforce them is the thing,
You can't,
Right.
you just can't.
That's the
just 'cause
problem. I mean, we know we have the ordinance, but getting them enforced is the
Right,
thing.
I mean, I know y'all, call me after you talk to the sheriff and all this come together, but like I'm telling you, when I sell a property, it's in a new owner's name, they're up to date on taxes. There's nothing I can enforce on that new
Yeah.
owner. They're buying it as is, where it is.
Like I said, I would just recommend that everybody involved in that process get together, sit down, and discuss what the issues are. And as you discuss those issues, some solutions may come about. The communication piece, the working together and just making that a more seamless process. So that would be my recommendation to, because.
So we've got together some in the past.
Okay.
Worked on updating ordinances for Henry County, but, I want to say, it goes back to the education part of it. We had a house, probably last time, had 40 heirs on it. Because what happens is, around here, the house is in the grandparents' name, they've been dead 30 years. Some of the siblings, one of them may have lived in the house, the other siblings didn't. That one all of a sudden can't pay anything, the other ones don't want to pay anything, they don't live there. So the owner of the house has been dead 30+ years that we start trying to sell. That's probably over a majority of what I have to deal with. Like I said, I don't think I've sold a house that somebody's actually lived in that we've sold. They've been abandoned, or it's the name of the person that owned the house is not living in the house, or not even living. That's my biggest issue too. I have to deal with that far down the road with people.
You say if it's worth $10,000.
If it's over 10, we have to do a judicial sale. If it's
If it-
under 10, it's called a non-judicial. We don't have to go through the court as in-depth as it is, but that's usually a small lot.
It's got to also be unbuildable, doesn't it?
Unbuildable.
Unbuildable and under 10,000.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are slivers of property.
It's almost by definition, there's not going to be a structure on it.
That's the only other alternative to judicial.
I was just
sale.
wondering if liens could be deducted from that
No,
10,000.
it's what we assess it at.
Thank you.
Like I said, I've got a big list of what we need to sell, but we're, like I said, I feel like I would love to sell more, but, you know, I have to get John to probably double his staff to do what we do.
Right.
But like I said, honestly, yes, John, us having 2 sales a year, not too many people do that. And I'll invite John to come to the next board meeting also, and you can get a press shop.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you. Agenda item number 7, a presentation of Virginia Association of Counties, known as VACO Achievement Award for Parks and Recreation. Mr. Wagner, will you give us some background on this, please?
The Virginia Association of County Achievement Award is a competitive program open to local governments in Virginia. Its purpose is to recognize local government programs that include innovation, cooperation, and model practices. You may recall last year, our Public Safety Blue Ridge Fire and EMS Training Academy was recognized with this award. And this year, I'm pleased to announce that the Henry County Fair has been selected as a recipient of the 2023 Achievement Award. We have with us today Jeremy Bennett, Director of Intergovernmental Affairs with VACO, to present the award to the board. And after the presentation, Roger Adams is prepared to come to the podium to give us an update on the upcoming fair and share the results of our recent Smith River Fest.
And thank you, Administrator Wagner. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Pleasure to be here. As Dale stated, I'm Jeremy Bennett, Director of Intergovernmental Affairs with the Virginia Association of Counties. Lovely to be here in Henry County. Lovely to come on such a nice day. And it is my distinct privilege to present the county with a VACO Achievement Award. And for the benefit of your constituents who may not be familiar with the Virginia Association of Counties, VACO has existed since 1934 to support your efforts as county officials. We support counties in many ways. First is through our advocacy at both the state and federal level. We also serve counties through our educational programs, member services, and communication efforts. And in 2003, we established our Achievement Award program to recognize counties that have adopted innovative approaches to providing public services and identifying programs that could serve as models for other counties to emulate. And today I'm very proud to present Henry County with its Achievement Award. As I said, this is VACO's 21st Annual Achievement Award, and we received 135 applications in 2023, of which 33 winners were selected from 20 counties. So it's truly a competitive process, as only 25% of entries were actually selected as winners. And this is Henry County's 3rd Achievement Award. Henry County also won Achievement Awards in 2022 and 2015. And based on this year's application, I'm sure you'll be winning Achievement Awards going forward, for sure. There were several criteria that our judges followed as guidelines for the award process, such as does the program offer an innovative solution to a problem, situation, or delivery of services? Does the program promote intergovernmental cooperation or cooperation with local, state, federal, or private enterprise in addressing a problem or situation? As well as does the program provide a model that other local governments might learn from or implement on their own in their own localities? So I know Roger Adams is going to speak a little bit more about the fair itself, but I know our judges were very impressed that you brought back a fair after 60 years of its absence, and certainly the collaboration with the Speedway, that government and intergovernmental cooperation was definitely a factor in the awards process. And the fact that you've had 8,000 people attend over 2 years, and it seems like that number is growing. So we will be posting, we already have posted the program on VACO's website, so it's available obviously globally, but to the rest of the Commonwealth. And we will also be promoting pictures from this event. So Administrator Wagner, if you want Roger to speak first, or do you want me to present the award and do pictures? How would you prefer?
Go ahead and have Roger.
Okay. I'll turn things over to Roger.
Thank you. So first, I'll just give a recap of Smith River Fest, which happened Saturday. Believe it or not, it was our 15th annual Smith River Fest, and the first one started at the Bassett River Access, which, if you know where that is, it's about half the size of this room. So we had about 2,000 people in attendance Saturday, and Smith River Fest was started to celebrate recreation, outdoor recreation in the Smith River in Henry County. And we had a lot of residents, but also people from out of town attend. And it's also a great way to get folks introduced to boating, canoeing, kayaking that have never been. We had some of the events we had a huge demo pool where folks could try out canoes, kayaks, stand-up paddleboards. We had a mud run, a Smith River boat race, rock climbing wall, bounce houses, yoga by the river, a fly fishing demo, a concert in the afternoon, the Joseph Young Magic Show, a plethora of food trucks, other vendors selling merchandise. So it was truly a fun day. Don't forget the animals from Infinity Acres there. That's always a big hit. So we were very pleased with that. The weather was awesome. So the fair for this year, as you all know, will be our third annual fair. And most folks say it can take multiple years to get a fair really established. But we kind of came out of the gate. Mr. Bryant serves on our committee. We kind of came out of the gate and wanted to make as big of a fair as we can. So this year we have some exciting attractions and amenities. Of course, we'll have coal rides back with all their thrilling rides. We have the delicious fair food, the games, and our shows. We're really excited about our shows. We have the Pompeo film, The Amazing Dog Show back, which they were on America's Got Talent. And then we switched out the other ground show for a brand new show, the Space Adventures Thrill Show, which will be exciting. We'll have a large animal exhibit from Infinity Acres. And then we're really excited about our concerts. This is the third year that this is our strongest concert bands that we have. Wednesday night is going to be B99 night, and we're having Carrie Brockwell. She was on American Idol last year. Thursday is tribute band night, as we welcome the Ultimate Eagles tribute band on the border. They play a couple hundred shows a year. They've been at House of Blues, Hard Rock Casino, playing all over the country. And Friday night is definitely our headlining act. We have Spirit FM night Friday night, and we'll welcome Colton Dixon. And Colton, I believe, finished 7th on American Idol in 2013 or 14. So he's definitely the biggest act that we've had so far at any of our fairs. So we're looking forward to that. You'll probably hear our ads on Spirit FM, B99, Channel 18, Channel 21, billboards, social media, TV. So we're looking forward to the third annual fair this year.
What happens on Saturday?
And then Saturday night, we don't have any concerts on Friday night because the Valley Star Credit Union race is Saturday night. And we also have fireworks at the conclusion of the fair and the race on Saturday night.
Good job, Ron. You want to have some board members come down?
Yes, I'm going to ask Mr. Bryant, Vice Chairman Bryant, Ms. Buchanan, and Mr. Dillard if they would accept us on behalf of the county. Saturday.
Congratulations to you all.
We'll now take up agenda item number 8, update from Patrick and Henry Community College. Mr. Wagner.
I'm pleased to report that we have Dr. Greg Hodges, President of Patrick and Henry Community College, with us today to update us on all the wonderful educational opportunities that are taking place at PNH.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Chair, I have something for you all. May I provide that? Great. 1 inch.
Okay. All right.
Good afternoon, friends. My name is Greg Hodges. I have the great pleasure of serving as the president of Patrick and Henry Community College. Thank you for giving me a few moments today to give you what I hope will be an annual update about the great work going on at Patrick and Henry Community College. You have before you today 2 documents. Inside of the top one should be a loose leaf sheet that I'll be referencing. I encourage you to take that out if you'd like to follow along. I'm going to give you a couple of buckets. The first one I want to talk about, we are referencing the concluded year FY 22-23, or as we call it, fiscal year 23. I want to talk to you about the enrollment at Patrick and Henry. When we talk about enrollment, I want you to understand that there are 2 large buckets that we think of in enrollment. The first are those traditional Pell-eligible programs. When we think of those, think of things like nursing or teacher education, those associate's degree programs. And for the first time in 4 years, and only the second time in 10 years, the enrollment in those programs was up by 4% at our college. The second bucket are those short-term workforce credential and training programs. When you think of those are things where students come and they'll take anywhere from a couple of weeks up to a couple of months, take an industry certification that leads directly to employment. And those are things like phlebotomy, HVAC, and CDL. And you will see on your form that those programs were up last year by 45%, which puts us at the largest growth per percentage in the Virginia Community College system. I bring that to your attention because I want you to understand that at Patrick and Henry, everything we do focuses on a singular focus, singular mission, and that's the economic mobility of the community that we serve. We recognize that we have one way of impacting that economic mobility, and that's by educating and training our students for good paying jobs right here in the region served by Patrick and Henry Community College. So while our credentials have fancy names like Associate's Degrees of Arts and Sciences, our industry recognized credentials, IRCs, our certification CSCs, what we really award is the JOB degree. So whether the student is coming to us for 2 years for the associate's degree, 2 months for an industry recognized credential, or 2 weeks to get retrained, what we are providing them is access to a good paying job here in the community that we serve. We also started and ended the year, I want to give you 2 large bookends, with 2 national awards which speaks to our focus on workforce development and workforce training here in our service region. The first one, as you'll note there, is the Advanced Manufacturing Program, which won the Rural Community College Alliance, RCCA, Innovation and Access Award, the first award given in the country for our partnership with Festo Didactic and the National Coalition of Certification Centers, NC3. That's a national organization that we partner with that awards these industry recognized credentials. And Patrick and Henry is recognized as a leader college, and in fact, 2 months last year, we awarded the most certifications of any college in America in our partnership with those programs, all of which are tied to good paying jobs. At the end of the year, in June, the Community Colleges of Appalachia honored Patrick and Henry with the Southeastern Workforce Development Award for our partnership with the Martinsville-Henry County Chamber of Commerce for our Startup and Grow programs, which have become nationally recognized as a success model. We had several new initiatives and programs that we launched on the recently concluded year, including a new CDL program. We opened the second building of our $20 million Manufacturing, Engineering, and Technology Complex. We call it the MET. This second building triples our welding capacity, and I'm very pleased to tell you that it is full, and we have still another waiting list. We went from 16 welding booths to 45 welding booths, and they're all full, and we still have a waiting list, so we are delighted to be able to serve. We will be having a grand opening of that facility in October, with the date will be forthcoming, and of course you all will be invited to participate. We opened a new CNA pathway for dual enrollment students for Martinsville and Henry County so that students complete that program with a credential ready to go to employment, or should they wish to make application to the LPN or RN program, they have the ability to do so. We also received a grant for $750,000 to expand power line training programs in conjunction with Whitfield Community College. Those classes are enrolling now, launching in September. A couple of major accomplishments that I'll highlight for you. I am eminently thrilled to tell you that we have now had 4 cohorts of nurses, 2 LPN and 2 RN, that have a 100% state board success pass rate. That is a tremendous accomplishment, especially since many of these students started during COVID. To be able to maintain that 100% state board pass rate is tremendous. I referenced earlier our Startup and Grow programs that are done in conjunction with the Martinsville-Henry County Chamber of Commerce. I've given you some data points there that speak to the success of the program at the bottom of the page. Over the last 6 years, that program has graduated 322 students. I'll pause a moment to let you know that all 322 of those students pay $0 to participate. They pay nothing to complete this program. We've awarded more than $500,000 in cash and in-kind prizes. $4.5 million in new capital have come out of that program, 271 jobs, and an 87% two-year success rate. In other words, 80% of those small businesses that have opened and come out of this are staying open post 2 years with a national average of 50%. And then I am very proud to let you know that more than half of the participants are female, and nearly half, 47%, are from our minority population. On the back, I've given you other significant milestones. All of these during the just completed academic year. I won't go through all of those, but I would encourage you to take a look at them because they do speak to the incredible work happening at Patrick and Henry. You have 2 documents also in front of you that I'll quickly let you know what we've provided for you. The first is our annual foundation report. It is the brand new report. Any foundation has to go through an audit once the academic year closes. So our foundation is right now going through its audit for the just concluded year. So I gave you the one prior that lets you know about the robustness of our foundation. And the second report that I gave you is our workforce training program. These are not the academic programs. That document is way too heavy to print out, and we provide electronic copies of that. And those are the traditional programs like the teacher education, preparation, and nursing programs. But what you have in front of you is our workforce training manual. These are the short-term programs that lead to industry-recognized credentials and then, of course, also lead directly to a job. And finally, I'll let you know that we continue to be very grateful for 2 pots of money that I want to call to your attention. The first is your support. We are eminently grateful for the dollars that you invest at Patrick and Henry. Every penny that you give us goes right back into this community as we're educating and training students for these good-paying jobs. And of course, we would be remiss if we did not express our continued appreciation to the Harvest Foundation for the SEED program, which I'm sure you're well aware, a 13-year investment, $10.3 million. And our SEED Cohort 5 from last year was actually the largest in our college's history and was 26% over Cohort number 4. It's been a very solid year at Patrick and Henry. It is still too early to tell about fall enrollment, but I will tell you that the indicators are we're going to meet or exceed last fall. Considering it was up over the previous year, that would be a banner year for us as well. I'm happy to entertain any questions that you may have, and as always, we are eminently thrilled to be your provider for workforce development in our community. What questions can I answer for you?
Anyone have any questions at this time?
Not me.
I think that you've given us a robust outlook, and we appreciate that. And certainly, we know that your door and your phone and your email is always open. You've answered them pretty frequently to me and to others on this board, and we do appreciate the open line of communication.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Stapled to that form is my business card, which has my cell phone number. Please use, I doze, but I never close, so use it anytime you'd like. Yes, sir.
And I do have one question.
Yes,
what
sir.
would you attribute all of the success that you guys are having at PH2?
It's a great question.
PNH, I'm sorry.
PNH, that's all right. A couple of things. There was some obvious pent-up demand following COVID. Like all colleges in America, there was a bit of an enrollment decline for 2021 as folks figured out what they were doing. We recognized that when the doors fully opened back, candidly, we never closed, but as the doors fully opened across the country, there was some pent-up demand. But I think the real emphasis and the real reason for our success is that everyone on our campus understands that our mission is economic development. Everything we do is about the JOB degree. And when folks get that picture, they can recognize their place in the grand scheme of things and really brings passion to their work.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, let me add, we're working with Patrick and Henry Community College. We're starting a training program here in just a few weeks where we've identified 40 of our employees, new managers and potentially future managers that will be going through a customized training program through Patrick and Henry Community College. So a good example of their willingness to develop a customized training program to meet the employer's needs. So we're excited about that opportunity coming up.
That's to be commended, because if you make someone a manager and you don't give them the tools or the background to work with, they struggle. And so I think getting in front of it is always a plus. So I appreciate that. Agenda item number 9, a consideration of a resolution referencing amendments to revenue sharing agreement. Mr. Wagner.
After consulting with the Director of Commission on Local Government about the revenue sharing agreements, County Attorney George Lyle suggesting the board consider some additional documents to relate it to the revenue sharing agreement. So I'll ask Mr. Lyle to explain those to you.
Yes, the Code of Virginia and the Administrative Code of Virginia dictates that revenue sharing agreements between localities shall be submitted to the Commission on Local Governments for their review and commentary. Myself, the City Attorney Paul Jacobson, we discussed this with the Commission on Local Government and prepared 3 documents which are in your board papers. Really, the only thing that requires board approval, and City Council is considering the same one, is the joint resolution requesting that they review it. I would ask the board to adopt that. The other 2 documents are the lawyer's document. There's a list of questions they want us to answer in a document, and I wanted the board to see that. And then a service type. We have to serve our request of the Commission on Local Government on neighboring localities and other localities we regularly deal with. And you'll see those listed in there. There is one change to that. We added the town of Ridgeway to that. So those are the documents that the Commission on Local Government will see. On September 8th, I will appear at the Commission on Local Government. They meet in Richmond. I think the city attorney plans to appear remotely and present the documents, request that they act expeditiously. We've told them that these are getting this revenue sharing agreement back from the Commission on Local Government so we can hold a public hearing and then hopefully adopt it. And the city would do the same. That we need to do that before the end of the year to complete the transaction with the Harvest Foundation.
Okay. The board has significant background material to support what's already been highlighted by both Mr. Wagner and Mr. Lyle. I'll call for any action that the board desires to take at this time.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the notice, resolution, and submission as it pertains to the revenue sharing agreement for the CCBC and the Bryant property.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0, Jennifer. Agenda item number 10 will take up a couple of financial matters. 10A, an additional appropriation referencing asset forfeiture funds for the Sheriff's Office. Mr. Wagner.
Sheriff Wayne Davis is asking the board to approve an additional appropriation of $7,927 from state asset forfeiture funds to purchase a body-worn camera system. Sheriff Davis explains in his letter that the proposed camera system will enhance the vice unit's ability to combat drugs and other illegal activities in our community.
Okay.
Sheriff is here if you have any questions.
Great, thank you. With that, what is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the additional appropriation of $7,927 from state asset forfeiture funds for the purchase of body-worn camera systems.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0. Jennifer. 10B, an additional appropriation referencing hazard mitigation grant. Mr. Wagner.
I'm pleased to report that the county and the Public Service Authority has received a grant of $547,575 from the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Virginia Department of Emergency Management through their Hazardous Mitigation Grant Program to purchase emergency generators for the Oak Level and the 10th Street water booster pump stations. The generators will provide backup power to the booster pump stations, allowing the Public Service Authority customers to continue to receive adequate water supply during power outages. The grant has no local match, and The PSA will maintain and operate the generators once they're installed. Staff is asking the board to appropriate the grant funds for this purpose.
Okay. In regard to this additional appropriation, what action would the board desire to take?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the additional appropriation of $547,575 in grant funds that were received through the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program for the purchase of the standby generators.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0. Jennifer? Agenda item number 11, a comment period for the 2023 Justice Assistance Grant, known as the JAG Grant, for the Sheriff's Office. Mr. Wagner.
The Sheriff's Office has applied for the 2023 Edward Burnham JAG Grant. If awarded, the grant will provide $18,448 to assist the Sheriff's Office with overtime expenses in high crime areas and for major incidents. The grant requires the governing body to provide a public comment period of at least 30 days. Sheriff Davis is asking the board to set the public comment period beginning August 23, 2023 and ending on September 23rd, 2023. Anyone wishing to comment on the grant application should contact Sheriff Davis via email or by calling the Sheriff's Department. And we'll bring the grant back to you at a future board date for acceptance and appropriation.
All right, in regard to establishing a 30-day comment period for this grant, what is the action the board would like to take?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we establish a 30-day comment period beginning August 23rd, 2023, and ending September the 23rd, 2023, to receive additional input regarding the JAG grant application.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0. Jennifer. Agenda item number 12, informational items. I'll begin by taking comments from the board, beginning with Mr. Zaire.
No, sir.
Mr. Dillard.
I don't have any comments, and if I'm out of line, just let me know. I'm still learning. But, you know, it's a lot has happened since Sheriff Davis has taken over. I don't know if he had any comments or anything he would like to say or share. And if this is not the appropriate time, you know, just let me know that. But if there's something he would like to share with us, you know, I think that would be great with just, you know, it's been a lot going on.
I think it's the appropriate time I have an update for the entire board. You feel free to ask any questions after that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Bryant.
Yeah, the only thing that I would, the only thing that I would like to make mention is, well, it's the same thing, I'll sound like a stuck record, is the litter that we have in the county. I would hope that the newspapers and stuff would actually just put the comment about litter in the areas. It seems to be getting worse than it is better. Every area that we go through, whether it's my district or other districts in the county, we have litter. I just want the people in the public to understand when they're littering, it actually costs them, because we have to pay to get it cleaned up. You think your taxpayer dollars are going for other things than cleaning up litter. That's what it should be going for, but you know, we do have to pay for the, you know, guards and stuff like that, guard them, the gas and utilities of the mowers and people picking up trash and stuff. It's I just want people to understand that there's trash cans everywhere. All the convenience stores have trash cans. All the service stations has trash cans. Just wait until you stop at a service station to throw your trash in the service station or at a convenience store. Don't throw it out on the highway. It's just not right to throw it out on the highway. You know, use a little bit of pride. You know, take pride of the area that we live in, and don't turn it into a trash center.
Thank you. Ms. Buchanan.
The only thing I have right now is I'd like to make the public aware, and I'll mention it again in September, that I'll be having a Horse Pasture District community meeting again coming up on Tuesday, October the 10th at the Horse Pasture Rueton Building, starting at 6 p.m. until 7:30. We have scheduled Dale Wagner, Henry County Administrator, to be there. It might be J.R. Powell, Sheriff Wayne Davis, and Lisa Hughes with VDOT. So I'd ask any Horse Pasture District resident that would like to come and find out what's going on in Horse Pasture as well as Henry County to please come out.
All right, great. Thank you. Mr. Slaughter?
No.
I don't have anything. Mr. Wagner?
I do have a few items if you'll indulge me for a few minutes, but the first item, if it's okay, I'd like to ask Sheriff Wayne Davis to come to the podium to discuss some breaking news as it relates to a new revenue stream related to the operation of the new adult detention center.
Good afternoon. I bring you good news today. So in the past months, the projected revenue shortfall from the adult detention center has been a concern to the board, the county administration, and also our citizens. So we have worked diligently to find a solution for that. And I'm pleased to announce that we believe we have found that solution. So just a few months ago, June, I believe it was, the Henry County Adult Detention Center was approved to house inmates for the federal government. And we signed an intergovernmental agreement between the Henry County Sheriff's Office and the United States Marshal's Office for the Western District of Virginia to house 20 inmates at a $65 per day per diem, which would have produced about $465,000 in annual revenue. So we housed our first federal inmate in July last month. However, the Western District of Virginia currently does not have a serious need for inmate bed space. Their inmate populations are down through the entire Western District of Virginia, so they don't have a serious need for bed space. So what we've done is we've continued to work on that relationship with the Western District of Virginia. We've grown and fostered that relationship, and what that resulted in is last Thursday, the Henry County Sheriff's Office, along with the United States Marshal's Office for the Western District of Virginia, and the United States Marshal's Office for the Western District of North Carolina, located in Charlotte, met here at the Henry County Adult Detention Center. And so as a result of that meeting, we have finalized and signed the new intergovernmental agreement between the Henry County Sheriff's Office and the United States Marshal's Office for the Western District of North Carolina to house as many as 200 federal inmates. So beginning as early as next week, we believe to start housing those inmates. We will start with 50. That's the number we agreed upon to start with. So we can get accustomed to, there's a tremendous amount of paperwork that comes with a federal inmate. So our staff has to get accustomed to handling the paperwork and the billing processes associated with these federal inmates. But we're told as early as next week, we will start receiving these in small numbers. And in the coming weeks and months, we will build to about 50 federal inmates. Those 50 inmates equate to $1.1 million in annual revenue. And so as we continue to move that up, the Western District has a need for a lot of bed space. But we hope to grow this agreement to the full 200. If we get to the full 200, that represents $4.7 million in annual income. So those papers are signed and completed. So we will begin to receive those next week. So I know several board members and myself have discussed this and the importance of getting it done, and I believe we've gotten it done. In addition to that, on August the 8th, we met with Sheriff Steve Draper about also housing inmates in the city of Martinsville. It was an excellent meeting. The Sheriff Draper agreed to allow us to house a number of his inmates. He still needs to maintain a certain number and percentage of inmates so he can ensure the security of his staff having a job. And we understand that. So as of today, we've received a number of inmates from the Martinsville City Jail. We're currently housing 22 of those on a daily basis. Our population today was up. We were housing about 251 inmates today. So I believe we've, thanks to the help of the United States Marshal's Office and Roanoke, facilitating this relationship with the Charlotte office, I believe we've cured the revenue issue.
I've got two questions. What is your per diem rate from the city?
For the city, $30.
30, okay. And I knew it would be much lower than
Much lower
federal.
than 65.
And for the public's edification, in terms of federal inmates that we would be receiving, what would be, I guess, the level of offense that they would have committed? I guess, for lack of a better way of saying it, what class of inmates are we receiving?
Any that they send us. So any inmate that they send us. So we didn't put anything into the agreement of, the level of offense that we would hold and what we wouldn't hold. So we've identified space inside the adult detention center to appropriately classify them and hold them. In addition to housing them, we also, in the intergovernmental agreement, we have a transportation agreement with them too. to provide some level of transportation at an hourly rate and federal mileage as well. So there's additional revenue to come from housing these inmates.
Great, thank you.
Sheriff, you also get, on top of the per diem for the city, you get the state pays you for a state inmate, right?
Yes, that's
On top
right.
of that, like 12 or 13 or something,
I think it's 12. 16. Is it 16?
16, there.
You know, myself personally, I'm so glad to hear that. It tickles me to
Good
death.
news.
You know, of course, I'm sure other supervisors have talked to the sheriff here about it. You know, we built a new jail with the understanding that it would probably be full within about a year or so. And we are sitting with a jail that has like 140 to 160 empty beds that's not drawing any revenue back for it. You know, it's what we thought would be an offset to help offset the bill on the, basically the bill on the jail. But what you brought to us today is exactly what we should have got from the beginning. But we thank you so much for the hard work and effort that you put in to get this done.
Just so you're fully informed, we grow this to the full contract number of 200. It would put us over, we're currently a 400 bed rated facility. We would have to begin to double bunk some of the pods, and we'd also require additional staffing to get to that full number. Because at 251 today with 0 federal inmates, we get, in the future, if we were to grow it to 200, it would put us well over our 400 bed capacity.
But knock on wood, we built the jail to where we could have the double bunks in it.
That is correct. The facility can handle it. As you know, the core space is built for 800 inmates.
Good news, good news.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
A couple
Wagner.
additional items. You may recall during my budget presentation, I mentioned the potential for increasing the transient occupancy tax, sometimes called the hotel tax, from 2 to 5%. Also in that same docket, I mentioned about that we could do more for our elderly, disabled, and handicapped for tax relief. So if it's okay with you all, I would like to advertise and set a public hearing for those items for October 24th, 2023. That is your October meeting, to allow public comment on those 2 tax-related items. And we're actually going to recommend, as part of the transient occupancy tax, we also add a clause under the business license to add a penalty clause if it's delinquent. Currently, our current ordinance for business license does not provide the treasurer a means of collecting delinquent taxes and adding penalties to those. So if it's okay with you all, we'll advertise those public hearings for the ordinance changes for those 3 things.
All right, since it is beyond the next meeting, do we need to take the action today or at the next meeting?
You can take it today, and one reason I allow more time than we normally do is simply because most of the time we take tax issues up at budget time, and since this is out of budget time, I felt like it was incumbent upon us to appropriately notify the public
Okay.
and do a little extra
All
advertising,
right.
more so than we would normally have done just for public hearings.
All right, I'll entertain a motion that we set a public hearing for the 6 p.m. meeting of the October 24th, 2023 in regard to the tax issues that Mr. Wagner just defined to us.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Is 6-0. Jennifer?
We got just a couple last things. Roger talked about the Smith River Fest and the fair. We'll have the late model stock race on that Saturday night. A couple weeks ago, we had the Smith River cleanup. And this past weekend, it was just a tremendous amount of activity in our community. And it's just real exciting to get out and see people in our community enjoying the outdoors and the car shows and the loud music. And so if you would indulge me, I've asked Brandon to put together like a 2-minute video just recapping the weekend in our community, just let people know we do have a reason for people to come here and visit and for our stuff for our people to do.
he post that to the website as well. That'd be great. All right, thank you. With that, that takes us to agenda item 13. If someone will cite the items as permitted under the Freedom of Information Act that allows us to go into closed meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the board convene in closed meeting as permitted under the following sections of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, 2.2, 3711A7 for discussing of pending legal matters, 2.2, 3711A3 for discussion of acquisition disposal of real estate, 2.2, 3711A5 for discussion of as yet unannounced industries.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? It's 6-0, Jennifer. I'll see you all upstairs in 5 minutes. Came out of closed meeting on a motion by Ms. Buchanan and second by Mr. Zare. Mr. Powell, will you hold the board?
Yes, sir. Board members, to the best of your knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under Code of Virginia Section 2.2-3711 were heard, discussed, or considered in closed meeting. How do you vote? Mr. Adams?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Slaughter?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Buchanan?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bryant?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dillon?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Zare?
Yes, sir.
Board members, coming out of closed meeting, do you have any items that we need to consider prior to a recess? Seeing no indication, we'll stand in recess till our 6 p.m. meeting. I'll call the evening session of the August 22nd, 2023 meeting of the Henry County Board of Supervisors back to order from our recess of this afternoon. I'd like to welcome all of our visitors tonight. Remind you, if you want to be placed specifically on agenda of any of our regular meetings, you'll need to contact the county administrator's office at least 7 days in advance of any of our regular meetings. However, the public may address the board under the item matters presented by the public that we will take up tonight as agenda item number 17. Again, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming out and participating in your county government. Our first business item of consideration, we have agenda item 14, and we have Lisa Hughes from VDOT for general highway matters. Lisa?
Thank you. Good evening. Just to update you on a few other projects we've got going on the bridge over Reed Creek on Virginia Avenue. You know, we're doing it in stages. We're doing it in 2 phases, and they've poured the deck on one half, and once they get that ready, we'll shift traffic to that new bridge deck and start on the other half. So there'll be a little bit of change in traffic pattern, but that project is moving on. The overhead flashers, I've talked to y'all about this, you know, in the past, are set to go at the intersection of 687 Preston Road and 58. Those flashers are up. They're bagged right now, but the tower is connected to them. All we lack are putting some red flashers on the stop sign at the intersection of Preston Road. And then we'll unbag the heads, and they'll be ready, they'll be complete. And what it is, they're flashers, it's not a signal. The flashers that are facing you on 58 will flash yellow, and on the side street on Preston Road, they'll flash red. And that was one of the, well, we had about 200 intersections in the 12 county Salem district that were flagged as high crash or critical intersections. And we narrowed that down to about 10 that we recommended significant improvements to, and that was one of them because of the fatalities that we have had. So anyway, that should be complete next week, and the flashers turned on. The other big project we've got going on is on 57A at Bassett High School. It's a triple line of pipe that's a little bit atypical because it involves a lot of utilities. And finally, I think we're almost there. Almost got to the point where we can jerk the old pipe out and install the new, but we've had to deal with water, sewer, and gas, and make those adjustments ahead of time. But that project's progressing, and again, we should be ready to start in earnest on the actual pipe next week. And We've put some additional message boards out on 220 business. I know there's a football game at Bassett High School this Friday. We've put some additional message boards and the signal there at the high school. We've put that on flash, so the traffic won't back up because it's only really controlling two movements now, and it's not needed while we've got the road closed. So that's all I had.
Okay, does anyone have any items for Lisa?
There was an accident down at the bridge. Somebody hit that bridge the other day?
Yes.
Did
yes,
it do
they
any
did.
damage to it?
They hit the impact attenuator, what we call it,
Okay.
that head.
Okay.
I think the person maybe had a medical emergency.
Okay.
When struck it. Yes.
Lisa, I want to thank you and VDOT for getting those flashing lights there at the corner of 687 and Route 58, because as you said, there have been a number of fatalities there, and anything that we can do to help with that situation was much needed, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other items?
Likewise, want to congratulate you on getting them railroad tracks out over on the Kohler Road. So
Well, now Tim Pace ran that show, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to, but he got that done.
I
And,
tried to call Tim, but I got his answering machine, but I left word on there. Tell him I appreciate it.
all right, thank you.
I just happened to think of one of the constituents in my district, we probably know he is, suggested putting red lights at Colonial Drive and Kings Mountain.
Yes, sir. We're looking at maybe some additional signage or something for that intersection.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, any other items? Thank you. Agenda item number 15, be a public hearing for a rezoning application R-23-11, Lonnie D. Eggleston. We have with us our Director of Planning and Zoning, Mr. Lee Clark. Mr. Clark.
Good evening. The property is located at 3180 and 3186 Ferrisboro Roads in the Reed Creek District. Tax map number is 1842B18. The applicant is requesting the rezoning of approximately 13 acres from rural residential district to agricultural district A1, and the applicant plans to sell the property to a new owner that wishes to keep chickens and livestock. Following a public hearing, both the Planning Commission and staff recommended that the rezoning request be denied. It was noted by both the Planning Commission and a neighbor that the area is completely zoned as rural residential and that this area would not be appropriate for the possibility of livestock.
I'll open the public hearing to take input on this rezoning application at 6:06 p.m. Is there anyone desiring to address the board on this rezoning application? Anyone? Seeing and hearing no indication as such, I will close the public hearing at 6:06 p.m. Mr. Slaughter, I believe this is in your district.
Yes, sir. I'll have to agree with the committee. It's more residential than it is anything out there. I have problems with putting livestock on that small area. So I think the denial is what needs to be. I make that a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0, Jennifer. Agenda item 16, public hearing for rezoning application R-23-12, Robert K. Mills. Mr. Clark.
Okay, this property is located at 782 Fisher Farm Roads in the Ridgeway District. Tax map numbers 52722, lots 6 and 7. The applicant is requesting the rezoning of 2 lots from Suburban Residential District to Commercial District B1. The applicant wishes to bring the property into zoning compliance to allow for possible expansion. Following a public hearing, both the Planning Commission and staff recommended that the rezoning request be approved.
I'll open the public hearing to take input on this at 6:08 p.m. Is there anyone desiring to address the board on this rezoning application? Anyone? Seeing and hearing no indication as such, I will close the public hearing at 6:08. Mr. Zaire, I believe this is in your district.
Yes, sir. I make a motion we approve the rezoning as requested.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? It is 6-0, Jennifer. Agenda item 17, matters presented by the public. Do we have anyone wishing to address the board under the agenda item, matters presented by the public? Do we have anyone wishing to address the board? Seeing and hearing no indication as such, that takes us to agenda item 18. Mr. Wagner, prior to taking that up, do you have any other items for the board's consideration? I do. Board members, do you have any? No. If not, I will accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? It is 6-0, Jennifer. Everyone have a good evening.